Right, so hello and welcome back to Books and Things, and welcome to another video, and welcome to my guide to Victorian authors. This is a special late Victober mini-series in which I'm going to be guiding you through a lot of different Victorian authors, and when I say a lot, I really do mean a lot. This video is very kindly sponsored by Serious Readers, who are an amazing company who make fantastic reading lights, but I'll tell you a bit more about them later on in the video. So it is going to be a busy week here on Books and Things, because over the next week we are going to have a lot of videos up, a video up every day, talking through a lot of different Victorian authors. This is a project, video mini-series, whatever, that I have been working on for a while and that I am really excited to do and that I think should be really fun. So over the next week there will be a video up every day in which I tell you about a lot of different Victorian authors. I'm going to work through 150 Victorian authors in alphabetical order by surname. I haven't read something by all 150 of these Victorian authors, but I have read something by a lot of them, and some of them I have read a lot by. My list of 150 Victorian authors is definitely dominated by novelists, but you know, the literary scene in the Victorian period was quite dominated by novelists. But we also have a fair few short story writers, poets, playwrights, and some non-fiction writers in here as well. So there should be something for everyone and a lot of new authors for you to discover. When I say Victorian authors, I mean British or Irish writers who were actively writing or publishing during the Victorian period. Some of these are authors who, you know, were publishing before the Victorian period as well as during the Victorian period, or after the Victorian period as well as during the Victorian period, but all of them published at least one or two books kind of between 1837 and 1901, which are the years of Queen Victoria's reign. And when I say British or Irish, generally my criteria for that is like an author who lived for quite a while in Britain or Ireland. So I am including authors like Joseph Conrad or Henry James, who were not born in Britain or Ireland but moved to Britain and spent quite a lot of their life there. Throughout the videos in this series, I'm going to go through each author, tell you who they were, when they lived, a little about their lives and their writing career, what books they're known for, and then my favourite books and where to start with them if I've read something by them, and then if they're an author who is kind of newer to me and I haven't read something by yet, then I'll talk about the books by them that I want to read. So I think I'm going to split those 150 authors into 6 or 7 videos. I'm going to try and talk about like between 20 and 25 authors a video, but obviously there are some authors who I'm going to spend a lot more time on than others. You know, I'm going to be spending more time talking about Charles Dickens and Elizabeth Gaskell than I am about Hepzibah Stretton or Edward Abbott. So before I wrap up this introduction video, I do have a few thank yous. So first off, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who replied to my community post asking for suggestions of your favourite underrated Victorian authors. There were lots of names in there who I know and love already, but there were also a lot of names in there that I hadn't come across before that I added to my list. I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who supports me over on Patreon. This kind of video mini-series, these kind of videos that take a lot more research and time and planning, I really love doing them, but they are really time consuming. Like, I have basically made BookTube my full-time job for a week in order to create this series, so I'm so grateful to everyone who supports me on Patreon and makes it possible for me to do this kind of thing sometimes. If you want to know more about my Patreon, I'll leave some links down below, but I have like a tip jar tier, a Friday Reads tier, and a historical fiction book club tier. And then finally, of course, I want to thank Serious Readers who are sponsoring this video. Serious Readers are sponsoring quite a few of my videos this autumn, which again is one of the reasons why I'm able to kind of make this longer, more time-consuming series, and I'm really grateful to them for sponsoring my videos and also for making genuinely amazing lights. So I've had my Serious light for 2 years now and I use it all the time. If I'm reading inside my house, I am sitting in this room reading with my Serious lights. I have the high definition model, which is really good. It's very flexible and versatile. And Serious lights also use something special called daylight wavelength technology, which basically replicates the daylight spectrum as close as is technically possible. So it's much more like reading with natural light than other lights would be. I definitely find that having a really good reading light makes a big difference to my reading, especially in the winter when it gets dark, and especially when I'm reading Victorian literature with tiny font that is a little bit harder to read. And I also find it useful when reading on Kindle as well. Like, I think in my head a reading light will be best for just physical books, but actually when I'm reading on Kindle, it's still really helpful and it doesn't reflect or anything like that. If you're interested in serious readers, I will leave some links down below, and I do have an offer code active currently. So if you use the offer code KT24, all in capitals, at checkout, you can get £100 off a high definition light and free UK delivery. Do go and have a look at them if you're in need of a good reading light. And that is all for this introduction to my guide to Victorian authors. I'm really excited because I think this is going to be a really fun series. I'm also slightly terrified that I'm going to have missed out someone really, really obvious that I've just forgotten about. But you know, I probably haven't. And if I have, it's fine. And I definitely have plenty of obscure authors to make up for that in my 150. So, you know, it's fine. I think my idea is that this will be like a useful resource that you can return to find out more about lots of different Victorian authors, and also that I can return to in future to remind myself of which Victorian authors I haven't read yet that I'm curious to read. And I was thinking if I come across new Victorian authors in the future that aren't in this list, then I can always make a sort of overspill video of overlooked authors at some point in a year or two and add it to the playlist. So do let me know at the end of the week if I haven't happened to mention your favourite Victorian author, and I'll add them to my list for an overspill video at some point in the future. Please come back tomorrow where we'll be talking about William Harrison Ainsworth, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Mary Elizabeth Braddon, the Brontes, and many, many more. And do please stick around a week where I will be going through many Victorian authors. I think this is going to be fun. I have a lot of authors to share with you. I hope you're excited because I am. So that's all for now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with another bookish video.